Next, we have neurotransmitters. So, neurotransmitters are chemical messengers that your body can't function without. Neurotransmitters carry chemical signals from one neuron to the next target cells. So, this chemical messenger carries, boosts, and balances signals between neurons and their target cells throughout the body. So, billions of neurotransmitter molecules are constantly working to keep our brains functioning. It also manages everything from breathing to heartbeat to learning and concentration levels. So, how does neurotransmitter work? So, before I will discuss how neurotransmitter works, let's be familiarize first what are these two, the synapse and the axon. So, in order for neurons to send messages throughout the body, they need to be able to communicate with one another to transmit the signals. However, our neurons are not easily or they are not simply connected to one another. So, it means na mayroon silang gap. So, paano naman makaka-transmit yung neurotransmitter natin if may gap, diba? So, paano yun nangyari? So, at the end of each neuron is a tiny gap called a synapse. And synapse contains a small gap between the cells called synaptic cleft. So, as you can see in the picture, that part, that is called the synaptic cleft. Ibig sabihin, yan yung small gap between the two neurons. Okay. So, and to the signals need to be able to cross this small space, and the signals should be able to cross this small space in the synaptic cleft, and this process is known as neurotransmission. And in most cases, a neurotransmitter is released from what's known as the axon terminal after an action potential has reached the synapse. So, an axon is a trunk-like structure which connects to the branches of another nearby neuron in which it can communicate. So, here is the axon, and here is the branch-like structures na nagko-connect sa nearby neuron, but they are not connected. Kumbaga, may space pa rin dyan sa between nila. Yan. Here is the axon terminal, and here is the synaptic cleft, yung space na yan. So, when an electrical signal reaches the end of a neuron, it triggers the release of small sacs called vesicle, which contains neurotransmitter. Ayan, as you can see there, ito yung vesicle. So, this vesicle contains neurotransmitters. These sacs spill their contents into the synapse, where neurotransmitters then move across the gap towards the neighboring cell. So, after niya mag-release or after niya spill yung neurotransmitter, pupunta na ngayon yun siya dyan sa synaptic cleft or dyan sa synapse. Para makakross siya sa another non-neuron. But, hindi lang yan siya makakross agad-agad kasi kailangan niya muna ng receptor, yung mga receptor para i-receive yung mga neurotransmitters. So these cells contains receptors where the neurotransmitter can bind and trigger changes in the cell. So kapag nag-bind na yung mga neurotransmitter natin sa receptors, magsa-simulate siya or mag-i-inhibit siya sa cell, doon sa receiving cell. So depende kung anong klaseng neurotransmitter siya. So mamaya, discuss ko or mag-share ako ng mga examples kung ano nga ba yung mga types of neurotransmitters or examples of neurotransmitter. So, I hope nag-gets nyo. And as you can see there, meron siyang reuptake, diffusion, and degradation. So, yan yung i-discuss ko mamaya. But first,
welcome to 2-Minute Neuroscience.
So, let's watch this video first if may mga questions pa kayo or if hindi pa siya clear sa inyo. I hope this video will help you understand the process of neurotransmitter or how neurotransmitter work.
Welcome to 2-Minute Neuroscience, where I simplistically explain neuroscience topics in 2 minutes or less. In this installment, I will discuss synaptic transmission. Most communication between neurons occurs at a specialized structure called a synapse. A synapse is an area where two neurons come close enough to one another that they are able to pass chemical signals from one cell to another. The neurons are not actually connected, but are separated by a microscopically small space called the synaptic cleft. The cleft is less than 40 nanometers wide. By comparison, a human hair is about 75,000 nanometers wide. The neuron where the signal is initiated is called the presynaptic neuron, while the neuron that receives the signal is called the postsynaptic neuron. In the presynaptic neuron, there are chemical signals called neurotransmitters that are packaged into small sacs called vesicles. Each vesicle can contain thousands of neurotransmitter molecules. When the presynaptic neuron is excited by an electrical signal called an action potential, this causes the vesicles to fuse with the presynaptic membrane and release their contents into the synaptic cleft. Once they are in the synaptic cleft, neurotransmitters interact with receptors on the postsynaptic membrane. They bind to these receptors and can cause an action to occur in the postsynaptic cell as a result. This action may involve increasing the likelihood that the postsynaptic cell will become activated and fire an action potential, or decreasing it.
Okay, so kinat ko na lang siya, no? Kasi may explain na sa video kung ano nga ba yung mangyayari after the neurotransmitter is done with its job, or it complete na yung job niya. I hope may natutunan kayo doon sa video, and I hope naging mas clear na siya. So, ngayon naman, after neurotransmitter deliver their message, the molecules must be cleared from the synaptic cleft. So, they do this in one of the three ways. So, there are three ways. So, yun yung degradation, diffusion, and reuptake. So, in degradation, an enzyme changes the structure of the neurotransmitter so it can be recognized by the receptor. So, yung enzymes are broken. So, yung neurotransmitter are broken down by the enzymes within the synapse. So, yun na nga, hindi na siya ma-recognize ng receptor at hindi na siya magbabind sa mga receptor. Kapag nag-diffuse naman siya, or sa diffusion naman, a neurotransmitter drifts away from the receptor. So, mag-fade away na siya, aalis siya doon. And yung reuptake naman is that the whole neurotransmitter molecule is taken back up by the action of the neuron that released it. So, from the word reuptake, so ibig sabihin, babalik na siya. I-reabsorb siya and i-reuse siya by the nerve cell that released it. So, yun na nga, babalik siya doon sa axon. So, it's either i-reuse siya or i-reabsorb siya at i-reuse siya. So, next we have the types of neurotransmitters. So, we actually have different types of neurotransmitters, and here are few of the examples of neurotransmitters. So, first is the amino acids, and other than amino acids are the gamma-aminobutyric acid, or the GABA, and the glutamate. So GABA, this is the naturally occurring amino acid that acts as the body's main inhibitory chemical messenger. And glutamate naman, it plays a role in cognitive functions such as memory and learning. Next, we have under the peptides. So, I think naalala niyo pa yung kanina, yung oxytocin. So, these powerful hormones acts as a neurotransmitter in the brain. So, it is produced by the hypothalamus and plays a role in social recognitions, bonding, and sexual reproduction. Next, we have the endorphins. So, I think you are familiar with endorphins. So, these neurotransmitters that inhibit the transmission of pain signals and promote feeling of euphoria. So, ayan. Next, we have the monoamines. Under monoamines, I have three examples: the epinephrine, the norepinephrine, and the histamine. So, epinephrine are the stress hormones that is released by the adrenal system. So, generally, epinephrine is a stress hormone that is released by the adrenal system. However, it functions as a neurotransmitter in the brain. Next, we have the norepinephrine, which plays an important role in alertness and is involved in the body's fight or flight response. So, this naturally occurring chemical is a neurotransmitter that plays an important part uh, in our fight or flight response. So, its role is to help mobilize the body and brain to take action in times of danger or stress. Next, we have the histamine. Neurotransmitter. Histamine an organic compound as neurotransmitter in the brain and spinal cord. So, uh, it plays a role in allergic reactions and is produced as part of the immune system's response to pathogens. If na-remember niyo guys or if naka-experience na kayo na kapag meron kayong allergic reactions, kapag bumabahin kayo, di ba, minsan ang inireseta ng mga doktor or hindi kaya naman sa mga butika ay yung mga histamine. Kasi yung it will allow, sinabi ko kanina, it is an organic compound act as transmitter. So, ibig sabihin, siya yung help sa ating brain na and sa spinal, siya yung nag-help sa ating body na mag-react doon sa allergic reaction. So, yung, ano ba yung mga allergic reaction natin? Like yung pagbahi, pangangati, diba? Yun yung mga example na yun. So, kapag uminom na tayo ng histamine, so syempre, it's either mag-i-inhibit siya sa pag-produce pa ng mga allergies sa ating body. So, ayun. So, that ends my part. Next, let's proceed to the assessment. So, I hope you are ready to answer some of the questions. So, I hope meron kayong natutunan sa ating lesson today. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask and or message us if may mga part na hindi pa clear or if may mga katanungan pa kayo. So, yun lang and thank you!